For the first time this year, really, we've seen that gap close a little bit, and it wasn't like Pogacar sat up before the line. He went right across it and celebrated. So
I think that's where all the questions have been coming, isn't it? You know, how sharp was Pogacar compared to the races that he did on the run into the Giro? He only did 10 days of racing, but he looked so sharp on every single one of them. Yes, he won, but as you pointed out, only by this much. Not as much as perhaps a lot of us were expecting. And we did see some grimaces from him towards the finish line yesterday. It didn't look as though he'd just ridden up at 90% of his capabilities on the day and that he was thinking about the long haul in 3 weeks and not going too deep. To me, it looked like he was at least at 98%, maybe even more than that.
Do you know what's mad as well is that he lost his bike computer in that crash. Didn't lose it, but left it on his race bike. Got the spare bike and he didn't have that on. And I hate to say it, but a lot of riders do ride on numbers now, and he didn't have the computer on. So he might have been... He obviously knows his effort and how to judge it, but he might have been riding above what he thought was his the time, or he might have been riding below it.
Below it, and thought he was riding at it, which would say that he's maybe not as sharp as he was in the other races. Exactly. But there's one person who really knows... Only one person, and that's Tadej himself. So there's a lot of speculation he's not as sharp as he was because the attacks haven't really...
Sharp,
but he hasn't distanced them with his initial attacks like we've been used to seeing, and it's just really hard to tell if he's being a little bit conservative with everything he's got in front of him, a long Giro, the Tour that he wants to try and win as well, or if it's just a case of he can't do much better than he's doing at the moment, and which way it's going to go. Is he going to get worse? Is he going to improve through the Giro? Huge question marks, and it's going to be entertaining to watch nonetheless.
Yeah, it's difficult to avoid the assumption that possibly if he was coming to this race targeting the Giro D'Italia in and of itself, Robbie, that we would see a different Tadej Pogacar. But this is one target en route to a Tour de France. It's a much bigger picture for him. He's not managing his efforts for 3 weeks. He's managing his efforts really for 3 months.
He is, and it makes it really tricky for us to tell how good he is. I mean, if he's riding like he is because he's thinking, I've got to be conservative, this is all I need to do, then it's very intelligent. But if that's all he can do, and he's got to get through this race and then carry that form through to the Tour and realistically get even better, that's a big ask. So I find it really intriguing which way it's going to go and how he really is. And you know, we'd love to know, we just don't.
What a position to be in. Oh, yeah, I'm not my sharpest. I'll just take a simple 28 seconds. Yeah, no problem. Fine by me.